Hey, you clicked on video. Hey. So yeah, recently I was going through my local theater's webpage and I saw, what? There's a Jujutsu Kaisen movie? I didn't even know about that. So I went and watched it with a bunch of friends. Honestly, I have to say I was a little bit underwhelmed. It's not bad, not at all, but I don't know, I was just expecting a bit more. Let me talk about the criticisms first, and then I'm gonna talk about the good stuff, because there is some good stuff. I'm not, as I said, it's not a bad movie. At least I didn't think it is. My biggest criticism was how the story was told, especially like some character motivations and stuff. Like, it was very obvious storytelling, not showing, but a lot of telling. Like, a character does something and then immediately goes to a flashback and explaining why he does it. Or another scene, the main character says to a girl, "Oh, I want to be just like you." And then instead of like making the audience think themselves, they show a flashback of her family saying, "Ooh, people don't want to be like you." And instead of like putting in a scene at the beginning of the movie showing that their family doesn't like her and stuff, and seeing that, and that they're disappointing her, and showing that through I don't know, a 3-minute scene. There were flashbacks all over the movie, and I was like, bro, why? There's great ways to implement stuff without straight up telling it. I'm gonna take an example of the Batman movie. There's this scene in the beginning of the Batman where Batman walks into a room and he sees this little boy which parents just died, and instead of showing the trope that we've seen a million of times, or a flashback or whatever, it just looks him in the eyes for like a solid 10 seconds. And you can see his eyes like getting red, tearing up. And it's just that emotional scene that you yourself have to think about. Oh yeah, it's because he lost his parents. And some people might say, oh, that's an unfair comparison to make. Batman is a famous character. Everybody knows Batman's backstory. Jujutsu Kaisen has a show. They also had that. Even if they didn't have that, you can make a scene in the beginning talking about that stuff that you're gonna show flashbacks of, instead of showing flashbacks of it. Just make a scene about it, show it, and then reference it like in a creative way in storytelling, instead of just not making the scene and doing a flashback about it, which is, it boggles my mind why they keep doing it. It's not just this movie, it's tons of anime which goes back to flashbacks. I guess it's just because, I mean, in long-running shows is so audiences don't forget some stuff, but this is like a 1 hour and 42-minute movie. When I voiced that criticism to one of my friends I watched it with about the storytelling, he was like, oh, you shouldn't expect too much. It's an anime movie. Don't get your expectations. I'm like, why should I lower my expectations? That doesn't make any sense. What? Just because it's anime? There's great movies like Akira and tons of others that do it like storytelling without flashbacks. And he was like, oh, but this is a movie that has a show already. But shouldn't that make it better? Shouldn't that make it possible to not show flashbacks because it already has that backbone? And then he was like, oh, you watch too much movies. And I don't know, I guess he wasn't watching enough if his expectations are this low. I don't know, when I go watch a movie, I don't really think about it in that way. Oh, it's just an animation, it's just an anime, it's just a kid's movie. I just expect a good movie, you know? Like, when I entered the movie, I saw that it was just, I think, 1 hour and 42 minutes. And I was like, ooh, that's a bit short. I mean, most movies are 3 hours now, and I'm not saying every movie has to be 3 hours. I think sometimes 3 hours is a bit too long. But I was like kind of iffy about that, like, ooh, okay, it can be done. It has been done. And after going out, I have to say, yeah, I noticed it. There's a lot of things that could have been shown that weren't. Which I think is a missed opportunity, because this could have been an amazing movie, and it ended up being above average in my opinion. Which I was like, why? You could have literally just 10 minutes and it would have made the movie so much better. And sometimes they show the same flashback 3, 4 times. One of the flashbacks gets shown like 5 times. And I know that's like a common anime trope, but why do you have to go that route? I guess it's because it's a shonen anime, but I thought like Jujutsu Kaisen was one of the better shonen animes, to be honest. And I have to say, all in all, I actually like the Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer movie more than this one. Yeah, that movie also wasn't perfect and probably did the flashback thing as well. But all in all, I liked it a little bit better, even though I actually like the show of Jujutsu Kaisen more than the Demon Slayer show, which is kind of weird, right? But let's finish it off with a little bit of positive stuff because, as I said, I actually kind of like the movie, especially the animation. I expect a bit more, to be honest, because usually anime movies are better than the show, but because the show's animation was already so fucking good, there wasn't much room left to improvement. There were some shots that were very impressive, like there was a fight, or actually more than one, where the camera wrapped around the character, which is really impressive to do in like a 2D animated environment. But otherwise, I wouldn't say it's much better than the show, but that's just a compliment to the Jujutsu Kaisen show, I guess. A thing that also surprised me was it was very brutal, and I think the movie is like PG-13, and I was like, woo, this is brutal. Like some of the scenes straight up showing blood. Not even the Batman, which by the way I loved, and maybe I'm gonna do a review about that one as well, had blood in it. But this one had, maybe because it was animation and that gets treated differently by the rating system for some reason. Some of the character banter was great. How the monsters were drawn, or demons I guess they are, were very creative. Some of the music was good. I recommend the movie if you already love the show. I think even probably if you don't like the show, if you just not like anime in general, it's a good watch. Don't expect too much like I did. But yeah, as I said, I recommend it if you want to watch a movie. But yeah, this is all for now. See you on the next one.